There is one question that I have come across that very clearly, for me, explains whether or not you should overcome the fear or abide by the fear. Overcoming the fear, how do you know? You ask this simple question: how will I feel about this on my deathbed? If you imagine yourself on your deathbed and you think about this fear that you have, how will you feel on your deathbed? If you don't pursue the fear, and how will you feel on your deathbed if you do? Our life is so short, and we have come here to experience everything, to live our potential, to be our best self, and to have our best life. Not to let fear run the show and be the decision maker. Yes, it's a part of the human experience. Yes, it will always be with us. Maybe every step of the way. Anytime that we venture into unknown territory, anytime that we do something new, anytime that we do something for the first time, there's fear right beside us, walking alongside us. And that's okay. It's more than welcome. But we don't have to listen to fear. We can hear it, we can know that it's there, but we don't have to make decisions involving it from its place. We are not it. It simply comes along for the ride of life. And Liz Gilbert says this so beautifully in her book, Big Magic. If you haven't read that, I suggest picking up a copy. It changes your mind. It really gives you a sense of acceptance of fear. Fear is just a part of life, but it's not you. And the important thing to know is really that fear has its own place. And sometimes fear is super useful. Sometimes fear saves our life. But most of the time, and thankfully to all the safety that we have today, we don't really encounter too many real threats of danger. But that just leaves a lot of room in our minds for believing in fear that doesn't help us. If you believe in a fear that is keeping you from living your best life, how will you feel at the end of your life when you're on your deathbed and you think back on your life and know that you didn't overcome that fear? How will you feel? Will you be happy with yourself? Will you be satisfied with your life? Will you know that you lived a great life? No human being is above fear. We all experience it. Every single one of us. But some people move through the fear. They don't move past it. It's not a car on the highway. No, they actually move through it. That's the only way to do and be and live life. You've got to go right through it. You've got to say, I love you. You've got to take that dive. You've got to do the thing that you're afraid of. Because if you don't, then you're going to have a lot of regret at the end of your life. And it's going to be too late to do anything about it. So ask yourself this question. Imagine yourself laying on your deathbed. And I wouldn't even say to think about the end of your life, because the end of your life might be tomorrow, might be tonight. You might not wake up tomorrow. That's just the reality of life. So if you imagine yourself on your deathbed, thinking and reflecting on your life, how will you feel when you think about said fear that you have? How will you feel when you think about that fear that you have and how you didn't overcome it? It's heartbreaking. If you put yourself there, I don't think there's anyone that will say that it's okay, that will be happy with that. I don't think human beings are designed to be okay with being satisfied with a life of fear. How will you feel when you reflect back on your life and you see that you made so many decisions from fear, that you lived your life from a place of fear? How will you feel? We are so afraid, but if you really think about it, fear is the mind's deception. There's something greater than fear. And I know you know what that is. We all know what that is because we are all that. It's the heart, it's love. Love is the thing that is greater than any fear. No matter how colossal the fear is, no matter how overwhelming it is for you, love is greater than any and every fear. Remember that and feel that and use that to take the first step towards overcoming your fear. Because if you, for a second, really get in touch with the reality of life, because today you might just be living in this moment and not really even think about, you might not be thinking about what it will be like at the end of your life. It's a very real thing, my friends. Living a life of fear will cause you so much regret at the end of your life. And at that point, it will be too late to do anything about it. You don't want to wait till you get there. So start today. Take one small step towards beating your fear today. Because you, my friend, you are greater than it. You are love. You are greater than any and every fear that you have, I promise you. Your heart is always greater than your mind. Always. Our heart is our universal truth. Our mind is our small, human, individual deception, fearing. Our mind is really small. Our heart is our universal truth. And our mind is really small. Our mind creates. Don't live your life from what your mind creates, from the fear that is created in your mind. You know the truth in your heart. You are that truth. And that truth is greater than any and every fear, I promise you. So let's do this together. Name one fear that you have in the comments below. And talk about one way in which you're going to pursue overcoming that fear. One small step. I love you guys. I'll be sure to comment also, so make sure you look at mine. I love you. I'll see you.